Welcome back. Next up, we'll be discussing how Black-led institutions and leaders are building and sustaining the infrastructure that shapes American democracy. Joining us on the Global Black Economic Forum stage, host, executive producer, the Monique Pressley Show and CEO of the Pressley Firm, LLC, Crisis Management and Strategic Communications, Monique Pressley. The President and Executive Director, Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights Under Law, Damon Hewitt. The President and CEO of the National Coalition on Black Civic Participation, Melanie Campbell. And CEO and President of ActBlue, Regina Wallace-Jones.
Greetings, everyone. How's your Saturday going? I would say happy 4th, but I'm thinking more today of what Frederick Douglass had to say about the 4th and what it means, as he said, to the Negro, but what it means for our purposes for us today. And so this is a time where the conversation that we are having could not be more critical, could not be more important, and I am thankful that the 3 panelists that I have today are on the front lines of what it means to build community, to organize, to be activists in this moment. And frankly, you'll hear that they are sustaining some of the most important and mission-critical work of our times. But I don't have to tell you that these organizations, Black-led organizations and companies who do this work, are under attack. Does anybody know that? Where's my audience? Y'all out there? Hey! Okay, I hear you. Do you all know that these organizations are under attack right now? And so it's more important than ever that we not just lean into what these leaders tell us about what can be done about that, but also that we learn from them, that they are examples that we emulate. So what I want to do first is give each of them an opportunity for about 60 seconds to tell you what their organization or company does and why it matters, starting with the lovely, we're going gentlemen first today. All right, the ESQ himself, Damon, talk about it.
Thank you, Monique. How y'all doing? All right. So I'm Damon Hewitt, president of the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights Under Law, an organization founded in the hot summer of 1963. 9 days after Medgar Evers was assassinated in the driveway of his own home, President John F. Kennedy pulled together a group of black lawyers and white lawyers and said, we need to come together to get in the game on civil rights. 63 years later, we have leveraged millions and millions of hours of pro bono time from law firms, and we've won dozens and dozens of really important cases. Our mission statement is that we work to ensure that black people have voice, opportunity, and power to make the promise of democracy real. Otherwise, democracy is just a word on paper. We do that by suing white supremacists, by suing the Trump administration every chance we get, and by holding accountable anybody, government, individuals, corporations, that is violating our rights and isn't allowing us to achieve the future that we deserve.
All right. How you doing, New Orleans? Y'all all right out there? Well, I'm blessed every day to lead an organization called National Coalition on Black Civic Participation. We were founded 50 years ago, May of 1976. And the reason we were founded was because 11 years after the Voting Rights Act was passed, the black community, we were not fully engaged in exercising our political power through the power of the vote. So we built a coalition. I wasn't there, but my predecessors built this organization 50 years ago so that we can maximize our collective efforts as an organization. So we have over 80 national organizations that are members, of the National Coalition. We have 12 state affiliates, inclusive of Louisiana. Many of them are in the South. And our primary mission is to maximize just that, build black political power, protect the power of our vote, but also empower our young people. We have a very focused program called Black Youth Vote that's youth-led, so that we are able to train the next generation to be those leaders that they can and must be. We also focus on women and girls empowerment through something called the Black Women's Roundtable, and we spend many days and hours around that, really focusing in on issues around health and wellness, economic security, education, and also we have an international component with the Black Women's Roundtable. We also have a Social Justice Institute at Clark Atlanta University, where we are also pouring into the next generation through our Hope and Justice Fellows program. And last and certainly not least, we have a new initiative that we're focusing with black men that we are organizing because we want to be holistic in our approach. And last, we are out there in those streets fighting every day to make sure that people understand that we built this country. So on July 4th, when we say this is not our holiday, every holiday about this country is our holiday because we built it and we're not going nowhere and we will not be erased. Thank you.
Good morning, good afternoon. I'm Regina, Wallace-Jones, CEO of ActBlue. Is there anyone in the audience who has ever made a donation to a candidate for office? Every hand should be up in the air. I am the CEO of that organization who, when you touch that little link and make your contribution, it's being processed on the back end by ActBlue. We, along with you, have moved almost $20 billion for Democratic candidates in aligned causes. Over the history of 22 years, we were founded in 2004, and our key goal was to give access to all of us to the candidates that we care about and to allow them to feel specifically and intimately just how much we care, show our support, and are aligned with very specific candidates that are of our choice. There are over 28 million donors that have given on the platform. And every candidate knows that they cannot do it without you. This is an election year, and we are under attack for very clear reasons. It's about power. It's about trying to block interests that are different. It's about trying to keep us from reshaping the democracy that we all want to see. Our mission is to build technology that shapes democracy and fuels democratic wins. And I'm really excited to talk to you today.
Thank you so much. Attorney Damon, now I'm a follower and a fan, and so I've heard you a lot of times talk about how the legal system does not solve for everything, but obviously you and I both have the love of justice and of the law in common. It does, or at least is supposed to solve for some things. Can you share with us kind of what mission critical is right now, a couple of cases or a couple of mission critical pieces of legislation even that you are working in order to get through the finish line?
Sure, and you're exactly right. You know, lawyers, we can't do everything. Lawyers don't usually lead movements, but when a movement needs a lawyer, you gotta know who to call. So we want you to call us and other people like us. So a couple of critical pieces right now. Most of you have heard about this horrible Supreme Court case having to do with Louisiana called Louisiana v. Calais. This case has further gutted the Voting Rights Act. It makes it harder for us to prove racial gerrymandering, but easier for people who don't want to see black community exercise their voice or black people elected to claim that we are racially gerrymandering. It's completely bass-ackwards, y'all. So what we did was we worked together with other civil rights organizations to bring the first legal challenge to anti-black racial gerrymandering since that negative decision. We filed a case in Memphis, Tennessee, where conservatives took the only majority black House district in the state of Tennessee, in Memphis, and they cracked it 3 different ways. they pushed black people out to 3 different districts so black people cannot exercise political power in their way anymore. And so we're bringing this almost as a test case, Monique. We're saying, what is racial gerrymandering? If that's not racial gerrymandering, then what the heck is? So watch that case. We also have a case on something that's cutting edge. Everybody's talking about artificial intelligence, AI. People don't want to get left behind. People want to use it. Some people are scared of it. For us, we're focused on making sure there's some meaningful guardrails so that the technology works for our community and not against our community. And so for that, we had to step up and sue a big mammoth company called Meta. That's the parent company of Facebook. We're suing them right now for algorithmic bias in advertising, for steering ads for certain goods and services away from black people and inferior products towards black people. So that's algorithmic bias. If you can't have a white-only and a color-only sign on a water fountain or on the bus stop, then the algorithm should not do that behind our backs without us knowing it. And so we've also proposed legislation in Congress, the AI Civil Rights Act. That will be the nation's first comprehensive guardrails at the federal level on what AI is, so that AI can actually work for humans, work for our people, and work for all people.
Thank you so much for that. And we're counting and depending on you in that work. Regina, that brings me to you because a lot of people sometimes get frustrated with the system because it seems like there's a movement, it seems like there's a coalition, and then it passes like a fad. And then we see something hot, something that gets us worked up, like Louisiana versus Calais, and then it seems like it passes. Like I was just looking at some data the other day that said less and less people are talking about, posting about our voting rights and our voting rights being on the line, even though the case is just as hot now as it was when it first happened. The situation is just as dire. What is it that you suggest we do in order to build coalitions that are not just a moment, but bring lasting change?
Thank you. In general, and this is speaking both from personal experience as a former elected official and also as the CEO of ActBlue, the things that we observe about coalitions are that they are built on shared beliefs, not on common enemies. So when you see a coalition that fractures or that dissipates, typically it's because what brought the coalition together is no longer there. The common threat that they were organizing around is no longer there. And once that common threat is gone, the coalition no longer feels that it has a need to exist. Conversely, the lasting coalitions are built on beliefs. For example, when I think about beliefs that Democrats and those on the left are fighting for, we might together say that we are fighting for economic security, better jobs, lower costs, affordable health care. We might also say that we are fighting for personal freedoms, reproductive rights, etc. We might also say that we're fighting for equal opportunity, better education, etc. These kinds of coalitions that are built around shared beliefs, these aren't things that you achieve overnight. They're not things that come and go. They're things that you're constantly building an arc towards trying to achieve for all of us. When we lose sight of those things, we lose. So the thing that we're really focusing on is trying to get us all back focused on what are our shared beliefs. We can't focus on fighting on a common enemy, a common candidate, a common anybody. We really have to focus on enabling what we all want to see together. And that is what creates a lasting coalition.
I appreciate that from you because we have learned, haven't we, in the last few election cycles, that it's not enough for there to be a boogeyman on the other side. It has to be that we stand for something and that we stand for it together. But I can't talk about coalitions and not bring a similar question to the one we call the coalition builder. Melanie, I would like you to talk about it, though, from the aspect of our youth, because you were just explaining that you're doing huge initiatives to build Black political power with our youth. How, with an organization that's been in existence for 50 years, do you keep it fresh? Do you keep it sassy? Do you keep people wanting to come in? How do you build coalitions in that backdrop when we see our youth disenfranchised with the system?
You make sure, one, you have a table for them and with them. When you're organizing, it can't be, oh, do we have any young people at the table? Young people should already be at the table, right? So when you're organizing, when you're hiring, when you're setting up any coalition that we set up, that's automatic. When we do things with our Black Women's Roundtable, we have this big national summit we do every year. It's a requirement that you bring a delegation of young people under 18, right? So that they learn about what their power really means. So that's the simplest answer to it. But I also want to kind of piggyback on what Regina was talking about, because really, this is the time that y'all not going to see everything. We're not going to put everything on social media. We're under attack. So people say, well, the movement has stalled. No, it has not. You may not see it, everything that we're doing, because we have a different enemy. Enemy is important right now because you have an attack on every aspect of our lives. Going after Black women when it comes to our jobs, going after our organizations. How many people have anybody who's been impacted by unemployment? Anybody in the audience? Anybody businesses have suffered during this time? Right? Anybody know that they've attacked our history? So that you can go long, and I'm talking about from the federal government. The they is the federal government. So, and this current regime that is under attack. So I think part of what we're having when it comes to the voting rights attack more specifically is depending on where you are. I was in Georgia when they pushed back a few weeks ago on the state legislature. That's organizing still going. But you also have a regime that's coming after our lives, literally. So some things we have to organize offline. Some things won't be on social media, and it has to get very granular where you are locally. When I go to jail, because I've gone to jail for our community before, I know to call on the lawyers committee to get me out of jail. But right now I'm not going to jail. Is that all right? Because they might not let me back out.
All right.
Right? So being able to understand that this is very different than the 60s movement. This is a very different movement that we have to have. So that, for me, coalition building has to also adjust to the times that we're in.
That's fair.
And it can't be what I did 5 years ago. It has to be different.
Thank you for that, Melanie. Damon, I got to be honest with you. And I'm pitching you the question because I already know you want to answer it. There are people who believe that the Constitution in toto needs to be picked up and thrown out and another one put in. And as much as I am an attorney with a bar card who swore to uphold the Constitution of the United States, when I see the Supreme Court and the way that they are conducting themselves, it makes me wonder if we need to be back at the drawing board. Some people call it third reconstruction. I know you have thoughts.
Well, look, we've had 2 reconstructions in this country. The first one after the bloody Civil War that brought us the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments, ending chattel slavery, equal protection under the laws, and the right to not have your vote impinged because of race, color, or prior slavery and condition of servitude. The second reconstruction at the height of the Civil Rights Movement brought us the Civil Rights Act of 64, the Voter Rights Act of 65. All the fruits of those reconstructions are being taken away. Some of it was slow, now it's really fast. And what it tells us is the Constitution, the laws we have, they're more fragile than many of us were willing to believe. But if we believe in a dynamic Constitution, if we believe in an evolution, the fact that, Black folks have paid the cost and the price for this nation to evolve for so long. We're paying the price right now, too. I do not want that price to be in blood. I'll take the sweat and tears, but I don't want the blood. But we have always paid the price. And now we're paying the price again to force a reckoning for a third reconstruction. We need a third reconstruction that is a fundamental realignment of the legal, political, social relationships between and among people in this country, and a realignment between us and the government. Because government simply is not working for people. This system is not working for our people. It's not working for a lot of people. And so that third reconstruction may very well mean new constitutional provisions or amendments. It may very well mean new laws, but it's also going to mean all of us have to put even more on the line than we ever imagined. Sometimes we're putting our time on the line, we're putting our safety on the line. But I want to talk to all of you. You have at least 3 forms of capital. You have your human capital. You can volunteer. I encourage you to volunteer for election protection, the coalition that a lot of us are a part of. It works in league with Melanie and others. I encourage you to use your fiscal capital to give to organizations that are doing work on the front lines. But I also encourage you to leverage your reputational capital. That's when you take your personal brand and voice and you say something and you do something and you let everybody know what you are saying and doing. Because we cannot do this work in the shadows all the time. Sometimes we have to be out front too.
Thank you, Damon. Appreciate that. Deserves a hand for that. Regina, just even listening to what Damon was saying, we're seeing right now candidates and campaigns that look good on paper, but they're not moving people to the polls. They're not moving people to give, which is necessary in order to move people to the polls. What, in your opinion, as an expert in the field, is the difference between a campaign that looks good and a campaign that is a driver that moves people to act?
Ultimately, when we see a candidate that is driving momentum, it's not a candidate that necessarily has the best technology. It's not the candidate who necessarily has the most money. It's not the candidate who necessarily is the most popular. It's the candidate that has built trust and relationship with the voters that are ultimately voting for them. So even though I run a technology platform, I would not for 1 minute ever say that the technology is there to replace that. First and foremost, a candidate's job is to win your respect, your love, your belief that they are fighting for what you and I care about. Where technology, where dollars, where all of the other things become important is what happens after that. All of the technology that we build is to take the people that you care about most and give them the best chance of actually winning. We're here to be an accelerant for the stories that we all want to create together. So I will always say, lean into knowing who it is that you're voting for. Get out there and knock on doors with them. Sit in their forums and ask them hard questions. Listen to them in multiple different forums and decide, is this somebody whose head and heart actually align around the beliefs that I and my family are trying to move forward? I and my community are trying to move forward. I and my city, etc., are trying to move forward. And if the answer to that is yes, then I'm going to jump right to my call to action. Make a donation, volunteer with them, talk about them, influence for them, because together with our collective actions and our belief in them, we win. We cannot win without all of those actions together.
And that is exactly right. We're not going to leave you without a call to action. I will stop for applause. Thank you. That deserves it. We're not going to leave you without a call to action. We've got about 30 seconds each. I know Regina just gave hers. Melanie, for the voter or the non-voter, tell me one thing. Tell them one thing that you would want them to do this very day.
How y'all doing out there? First and foremost, in your home, make sure that everybody in your home is registered to vote. Make sure that they're ready. Make sure that they're prepared to vote. The second thing is get involved, as been said, you say, okay, if I had been living when all that happened in the 60s and segregation, what would I do? I wouldn't have taken that. But this is your moment. You are the leader you're looking for, so you have to get involved in your own local community, support those local organizations. How many people are in here from Louisiana itself proper, right? Woo! So the fight is real. The fight is still going on in Louisiana as they continue to attack voting rights and continue to attack the political power in your state. So I believe y'all sitting here for a reason, and so you got to take that, you got to multiply that, and make sure that you do all the things that are necessary to make sure that you fight that fight here in Louisiana, right where you are. How many people are in the South? Okay, all roads lead to the South. They're going after our political power in the South. And so those of us, I'm from Florida, and those of us, we understand that. But those of you who are not from the South, trust and believe the power, they're coming after you too. So those are the things that you have to do right now. November is not a regular election. November will decide if we are able to build this new country we want, or whether or not we're going to be in modern day slavery. That's what's at stake. So get involved, and united we win.
10 seconds, Damon, we're out of time.
This is a time to reconceptualize what black political power is and will be. What I want you to do, when you make your plan to vote and you register to vote, also reach one and teach one. Go to 866ourvote.org, 866ourvote.org. That's the Election Protection Coalition. You can volunteer. You can be a poll monitor in your own community and defend the right to vote exactly where you live. 866ourvote.org, election protection.
And I'll add the last one. Obviously, do that. Go to vote.org, make sure you're registered to vote. But here's what I'm going to say. Speak up. Say something. If you have a phone, you have a platform. Do not think that your voice doesn't matter. Your voice is the one that matters most in your community. Use it so that you can be heard about the issues that matter to you. Thank you all for having us. And thank you to my expert panelists.